Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, laboring the word and doctrine. Shalom, meaning peace, may that be into the elect of the nation of Israel. Alright, so I'm going to try and be quicker and more to the point in this one, but a follow-up video. Alright, when you go into this, David Guzik, one of the Blue Letter Bible scholars, and we had a video. He basically said Paul went off without saying it. I asked him if were the Hebrew Israelites wrong when they say the covenants and the service of God pertains to Israel, not the Christians. Are they wrong? And he was like, yeah, they are wrong. Little did he know, I was quoting from Paul, who is a Hebrew Israelite, and Paul was correct. All right, so we've just, we'll read it. We'll read it. So just the 43rd verse. Exodus 12 and 43. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. And that's the key, because this is going back off the leader of the GSCC, Gathering of Christ's Church Congregation. He said, basically in the borders. I know, again, I'm not sure if he was talking about what he does or what we're meant to do according to the law. But either way, it's off, because the law says this. But he was saying, in Israelite or non-Israelite within the borders, they will. Let me turn that off. Yeah, so this is 6th of September. So Lord willing, I'll put this up tomorrow. Anyway, he was saying you treat them, whether they're Israelite or non-Israelite, you treat them exactly the same. So if he was treating them exactly the same, he'd be inviting heathens to the Passover, which is against the law. If that's not what he was saying, if I've misinterpreted it or something, you can come back and say that, or someone from GSCC can come and say that. But right now, it seems that he was saying we're all equal. We're all equal. That's what it sounded like. So it says, this is David Guzik, study guide for Exodus 12. No foreigner shall eat it. He said, to share in the Passover, one had to make themselves part of the people of Israel. Receiving the covenant of circumcision and taking Passover were all part of the same package. Right, so how do you make yourself part of the people of Israel? If you're an E, all right, just because you circumcise yourself, you don't become an Israelite. Okay, no foreigner shall eat it. You don't become unforeign. The only ones that can become so-called unforeign is the Israelites that became estranged, that were foreign. So, he's constantly slicing and dicing himself up, man. So he said, receiving the covenant of circumcision and taking Passover were all part of the same package. Yeah, of what, being an Israelite. So how do you make yourself when you can't? It says, in one house it shall be eaten. Passover was commemorated on a family level. Each household celebrated it. Now shall you break one of its bones. None of the bones of the Passover lamb were to be broken. This looked forward to Messiah, the ultimate Passover lamb, who had not one bone broken even in his crucifixion, which is true. D says, all the congregation of Israel shall keep it. All who were part of Israel had to commemorate the Passover redemption. You couldn't be part of God's people and not share in Passover. And let's go one step further. You couldn't take part in Passover and not be part of God's people. Right? And who are God's people? The Israelites. Yeah, he will admit, he will say, one had to make themselves part of the people of Israel. Little does he know, whether he knows or not. Yeah, I think he's sincere. He's completely off, but I think his answers are sincerely off. And it says, you have to make yourself an Israelite. Maybe you could do a tutorial. How do I make myself an Israelite? So it says, in this sense, Passover means all this and more to Christians. So therefore, and this is out 1 Corinthians 5 and 7 through 8. Therefore, purge out the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, since you truly are unleavened. For indeed, HaMashiach, our Passover, was sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast not with old leaven, nor with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So Hamashiach is the Passover, and it said no stranger can eat of the Passover, and he is that bread that came down from heaven. So how can you eat? How can you eat his flesh and drink his blood if by law you're not allowed to eat the Passover? You couldn't be part of God's people and not share in the Passover. Let's see what some other top scholars say. Chuck, no, is it? What's his name? Chuck Smith. Let's see, he's got a verse by verse. I've not seen this one yet. I've seen the first one. Can't lie, I prefer the Ooh. Okay. This is interesting now. So he says, now no stranger is to eat of the Passover. You remember Paul warned against unbelievers partaking of communion. And it says, for he that eateth unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to his own body. He warns that about the unbelievers partaking of communion. It's not for strangers. Now he said that, but what is a stranger? What is a stranger? Because not back then, and he probably knows this, man. He knows the difference between Israel and the strangers. Now, not every single Israelite believed. That doesn't necessarily mean they're a stranger. They're estranged in a sense. But that doesn't make them now a non-Israelite. And that's why, again, we're to get on the idea of a Gentile. What is a Gentile? It says, the communion service is not for the public, the general public. It's for the body of Christ. It's for the family of God. And who did, quote unquote, God choose? Whose family is his? Who did he say, ye over all families of the earth? Amos 3:1. Hear the word that Yahweh hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt. Right, and what's that? The Passover. It says, saying, you only have I known of all families of the earth. Therefore will I punish you for all your iniquities. So all the families of the earth. So who is the family of God? The Israelites. Nah, now he's going off. I don't even want to hear about that. Yeah, I'm skipping all that. But he said, but if you wanted to proselytize into their faith and into their nation, you can't do it. You can't fucking do it. You understand? You can't, man. You can't make an Edomite tree into an Israelite tree. Yeah, Elder Apostle Tahar said it best concerning the grafting in. Let's see some more text commentaries. Let's see what Matthew Henry's saying. So lucky. Alright. I'll give David Guzik. That's the most clearly laid out one, man. Clearly laid out format, that is. The doctrine's laid out and played out. But here it is. It's coming up. $43. It doesn't say no stranger can eat. Why is that? Oh, there it is. No, it says no stranger that was uncircumcised. Completely going off. Here is an early indication of favor to the poor Gentiles that the stranger, if circumcised, stands upon the same level with the homeborn Israelite. Yeah, you wish. Right, the poor Gentiles, yeah, the poor Israelite Gentiles, the stranger, that Israelite stranger, yeah, from a homeborn Israelite. So what about the Israelite? This is what I mean, man. What happened to all the Israelites that are from, you going like there's no Israelites in a foreign. Like, there's no Israelites outside the borders. How come that doesn't click? He says a sincere proselyte was as welcome to the Passover as a native Israelite. Yeah, a proselytized Israelite coming back into the fold. That's the adoption, right? The adoption of sons. We went into this already. A stranger can eat thereof. Nehemiah 9 and 2. And the seed of Israel separated themselves from all strangers and stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers. But again, just because you see a certain word in one place doesn't mean it means the same thing every single time. I'll give you that. Let's check one more and we'll close out. Lord willing. Jameson, Fawcett and Brown. 3 for the price of 1. Well, this is laid out nicely. This is laid out wisely. Exodus 12. Oh, it's gone. It just doesn't exist. As a man went through the whole. You took 3 you took 3 of you lot, yeah. You went through if I'm not mistaken, every single verse. Oh no. Yeah. 90. No, you missed 80. All right. So you missed quite a bit. You pretty much hit every verse. Then 41 disappears, and then 49. Then you're back. So that doesn't count. We'll try one more. Should we see that? 4 thoughts about Israel. Is that it? Right, I'm let down with you Christians, man. I thought you'd come better than this. Let's see your notes for Exodus. Now we need 12 specifically, but if you're not up to it, Christians, so be it. And Lord willing, went into that and further proved that point. And there was also one more thing I thought of. Let me just as soon as I locked off the last video, I thought of it. So bear with me. I hope the Lord brings it back. The Passover, the keeping of certain types of servants. Oh man, let me pause it. I don't want to keep you. There it is. I'm back. I think dieth itself. That's how it says. There it is. And it even says within thy gates, within thy borders. Right, Deuteronomy 14 and 21. Ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it. Or thou mayest sell it unto an alien. And that doesn't mean a little green nigger from outer space. An alien just means foreign. Or thou mayest sell it unto an alien, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. So this word for stranger, gar, we've seen that one already. The alien, again, it's that word, tzedakah. It's that word. It comes from the root nakar, nakarya, foreign, alien, foreigner, foreign woman, harlot, unknown, unfamiliar. Stranger 18, strange 17, alien 4, strange woman 3, foreigner 2, outlandish once, stranger once. So that's 3 strikes and you're out. Alright, you can't keep Hebrew Israelites as bond servants. An Israelite can't. The Lord ultimately has that. Certain times you might see it as a servant, but you have to get into that and understand the stipulations and differences between being a certain type of servant and a bond servant. All right, and even in the words, you've got to get into the words as well, everything like that. Right. So concerning the slavery of an Israelite, concerning HaPesach, the Passover, and now concerning what we can eat. Now you can give something that dieth to itself. You can't eat it. And who's this to? 14. This is talking to the Israelites. You can go back. I even know where it starts. There is Deuteronomy 9. And he's talking to Israel. You know, when the law's given, it's talking about do this in this land that was given to your fathers. Well, who's that? Deuteronomy 9:1. Shammai Yasharala. Right, hear, O Israel, thou art to pass over Jordan this day, to go into possess nations greater and mightier than thyself, cities great and fenced up to heaven. Deuteronomy 14. And then it's ye Israelites shall not eat anything that dieth of itself. So when it say it got sick and just sort of keeled over, you got a cow, and it sort of went, dropped on the floor dead. You can't eat that, you Israelites. But what can you do? You can give it to a stranger that is within their gates, a non-Israelite stranger, a non-Israelite alien. For you are an holy people. Who's the holy people? Israelites. Again, a difference. So there is a difference. Part 2. I pray it was edifying again. Salachi, if it was a waffle thing, I'd only prepared that first little commentary. But there you have it. I pray it was edifying. On to the next one, Lord willing. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Shalom.